Although Donald Trump continues to have a resounding lead, the 2024 GOP presidential field of candidates is getting wider and deeper. And one of those candidates, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, joins me now. Senator, by the way, congratulations jumping in. I spent 4 years in the great state of South Carolina. You're a fantastic senator. Loved having you. Loved seeing you around town. Loved seeing you take your mom to brunch on Sunday downtown. You're a fantastic gentleman. Sir, talk to us a little bit about 2024. What are you looking for? Can I just ask you this? I did this with Governor DeSantis last week. I said, are you more establishment or more MAGA? And explain to the folks so they can kind of pinpoint where you are on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just a biblical conservative, to be honest with you. I believe that there's objective truth, and the more closely we align our policies and our perspective with that objective truth, the better off we are as a nation. One of the reasons why I'm running, Eric, is because I believe that America can do for anyone what she has done for me, restoring hope and creating opportunities, but protecting the America that you and I love, which means starting with our borders, starting with the security concerns of the average American, is one of the reasons why I'm excited to get involved in this race, because I believe the truth of my life disproves the lies of the left.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, Senator. And there are a lot of people, you know, on the left who would say, well, you're not the typical African-American in elected office. They're saying you're the exception, not the rule. We don't rehash that. But let me ask you this. What do you believe, Senator, is the let's call it the most existential threat to the United States? What one thing is it?
Well, listen, if you're thinking about it from a foreign policy standpoint, there's no question that the existential threat facing America is China. Not only because they're breaching our sovereign borders with their balloons, not only because they're spying on our kids through TikTok, not only because they're made in China 2025 plan, it's the fact that this communist Chinese party, they're buying up our farmlands to spy on our military. They're doing things that are so malign that if we don't have a strong president standing in the gap and saying not on my watch, that threat grows larger and larger, and it looms in a military perspective as well. We push back on China by becoming more independent from China, making sure that we don't go deeper and deeper in debt to the Chinese Communist Party. That's how we make sure that America remains the city on the hill, the beacon in the midst of darkness. It requires America to be strong economically and prepared militarily.
So you touched on something with the way we push back on China is to be more, I guess, stronger and more sound as a country. That's platitudes. I get it, and that's good. But let's do a little boots on the ground, so to speak. If China does invade Taiwan, trying to bring Taiwan back into her fold, you know, we're not sure what Biden's policy is. It's been on both sides. It's defend Taiwan at all costs, and it's also don't mess with China. Where would President Tim Scott fall on that? How far would you go? Aid, kinetic aid, boots on the ground. How far would you go?
Well, I think it's very important for us to continue to have a proper harmonization and alignment with our military and the Taiwanese military. We need to continue to provide the training and the resources necessary. We need to continue to provide the weaponry. We need to continue to provide the intelligence, and we need to have shoulder to shoulder with Taiwan should be our approach to solving the problem with China. The stronger we are, the weaker they become. The weaker our president, the stronger President Xi becomes. I believe that the situation that we have with China today is a result of weakness in the presidency of the United States, not strength in the president of China. That is the one big difference that we can change literally overnight with one election. That change is coming. It's good news for America. Agree completely under Trump. There's 4 years where China never messed with us. Putin didn't mess with us. Let's talk about Putin a little bit. One of your fellow senator, U.S. Senator from South Carolina, has been threatened with an assassination assassination call by Putin's propaganda wing to assassinate Lindsey Graham for nothing more than visiting Zelensky. Your thoughts on this? I think it's incredibly ridiculous. I would say this without any question. Thank God that Senator Lindsey Graham has the backbone to stand up to Putin and all of his amazing efforts to literally create a genocide that will last for generations in Ukraine. It's one of the reasons why decimating the Russian military has to be a part of our objective. America needs to understand the national vital interest that our country has on siding with Ukraine. President Biden has done a terrible job of telling the American people why we're there. But Lindsey Graham taking a strong stance, supporting Zelensky in opposition to Putin, having the courage and the backbone to take that stand is exactly where we want the United States president to be as well, is taking a stand on behalf of right. And frankly, it is in our national vital interest. By degrading the Russian military, we reduce threats on the home front, and we also secure our NATO partnerships as well.
Senator, very quickly, final thought here. Now, I talked to all the candidates that come on that aren't named Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis because they are the leaders. Would a Trump Tim Scott be stronger against Biden, or a DeSantis Tim Scott be stronger against Biden? I know you're going to say Tim Scott up top, but just work with me a little bit. Just play a little, game this out for me a little bit. In the event the leaders are in fact the nominee,
you're right,
where
man,
would be
sir,
the
no
strongest?
question about that. I have to answer the question, obviously, by saying that the Scott ticket, no matter who my vice president would be, is the strongest ticket possible.
Who would it be?
Any ticket
I'll
is a
play.
good thing.
I'll play along, Senator. I'll play the game with. I'll play the game with you. If it is Tim Scott, which would you prefer to have to share a ticket with? Would it be Trump or DeSantis?
That's a good question, too, Eric. I would say never say what you'll never do, number one. So never give away your top secrets, number two. And number three, wait until we win the nomination, and I'll let you know as we head towards that nomination who my vice presidential pick will be.
And indeed, Senator, congratulations on the race. And again, you're the best to your mom, who I've met with you at brunch downtown Charleston. Thank you so much, Senator.
You join us next time, Eric. Join us next time.
Will do. Will do. Thank you, sir.